Hey, what's going on, sports cards fans? Thought I would do something a little bit different today. There's a lot going on in the hobby right now. Card prices are pretty crazy at this point in time, especially in basketball. Basketball is white hot. Jordan is white hot. People are watching The Last Dance. There's a lot of buzz around Michael Jordan, and so consequently, his card prices have gone sky high, and people are buying into the hype. And there's a word that I keep hearing in these videos, and that is unprecedented. And immediately I said, well, wait a minute. This is not unprecedented. So I have you here on vintagecardprices.com. It's a website I've been using for a long time to help me track card prices. So here we're looking at the famous Michael Jordan rookie card out of 86 Fleer. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PSA 8 chart. So I'll click that. So this takes us, first of all, it gives you an average selling price right now. So right now the card's selling for about $6,300, which is insane. We have price history. I can show a lot more price history, but it tells you the last few sales. And then let's go ahead and look at the 1-year chart. And you can see May, June, July, basically summer of 2019, this was let's just say $2,000 card, roughly. And it was bipping along, and it started to go up in price a little. So in the fall of 2019, we're looking at around $2,500. Then at the beginning of 2020, we see it rise up to $3,000-ish, and even up into $3,500, but kind of into that $3,000 to $3,500 range. And then just in the last month, really, it's really taken off, going from $3,000, $3,500, selling up into the, as we can see, $6,000 range. And you can see all the recent sales, roughly around $6,000. So that's what's going on in the last year and over the last month. But what happens if we go further back in time? So this is price history going back all the way to 2006, actually. And if you can imagine getting this rookie card for $500 back in 2006, even through 2013, and let me narrow this chart a little bit. Okay, so 2007 going into 2009, basically you see this nice gradual natural increase in price over years. A period of years is what we're talking about. 2007 up to 2012, 2013, and then 2014, 15 is when this card kind of started to take off a little bit. Now, what I want to focus on is the summer of 2016. I think there have been a lot of new collectors, investors coming into the hobby over the last year, and it seems like over the last few weeks, to be honest. YouTube channels are popping up left and right saying, top cards to invest in, buy these cards now, how to make money flipping sports cards. It's actually pretty crazy over the last few months how many more people have come into the hobby, and they may not understand the history of some of these cards. But those of us who have been around at least a few years remember the summer of 2016. So remember, I said people are calling these card prices unprecedented, And yeah, prices weren't at $6,000 for a PSA 8 Jordan rookie, but they did escalate and then come back down. So we can see in 2014, 2015, again, we're talking about the 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 8, was in that $1,000, rising up to $1,500. The prices started to accelerate, but it was still fairly natural. And then in the summer of 2016, we start seeing prices for $2,500, $3,000. You know, some sales are over $3,000. Let me see if I can. Let me get in here a little bit closer. But basically, it went from, at the beginning of 2016, it went from a $1,500 card to a $2,500 card fairly quickly. So at its peak in June, July, pretty much around the 4th of July is when this card peaked. And then you see the decline. So remember, July of 2016, $2,500. By the end of the year, it was back to being a $1,500, $1,600 card. $1,000 price drop from $2,500 back to $1,500. And then you can see, again over here, this mound here is summer of 2016. Card prices declined to 2015. A year later, it was still a $1,500, $1,600 card after it peaked at $2,500. And for another year, it fluctuated here and there, but was relatively flattish. And then 2019, at the beginning of 2019, it starts to come up again, and it goes up and up and up. And this run up, and let me go to 2019. So this run up in price over the 2019 year was pretty natural, all the way up to $3,000. So I don't think $3,000 is a very unreasonable price for this card, but $6,000 certainly is. So again, if we zoom out, you just see this parabolic rise in prices, which is not sustainable. So like we saw in 2016, I think prices are going to come back down, maybe not to $3,000, but I would not be surprised to see this card under $4,000 by the end of the year. And by next year, it could be about the same thing. So it could take, I suspect it'll take months for prices to slowly drop, but I think prices will drop over time. So that's the rookie card. Now we saw this with, let me go to 87 Fleer Jordan, his second year card. We'll go ahead and look at the PSA 9. Let's look at the 1 year chart. So for 2019, this was like a $400, $500 card. And then boom, suddenly it's a $1,000, $1,200 card. So again, summer of 2016. Over here on the right hand side is where we are now. Things are selling for $1,200. But back in 2016, this card was selling for $700, $800, even $900 4 years ago. And if I slide this over, let's zoom in a little bit more on 2016. But at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016, this was a $300 card, the 87 Fleer Jordan in a 9. $300 card at the beginning of 2016. By summer of 2016, it had doubled in price, plus two to three times price in the summer of 2016. But again, once it peaked, it came back down, and by the end of 2016, it was a $400 card again, 400, 500, $450 card. And it even went down further. We see 2 years after it peaked in 2016, let me show you that amount again. 2 years after it peaked in 2016, I'm looking at May of 2018, it's a $300 to $350 card after selling for $600, $700, $800 2 years prior. So I suspect it'll take some time, but I fully expect prices to come back down. Again, not necessarily to where they were, but not much higher, because the run-up in prices right now is completely unnatural, and I don't see it sticking around. So that's my opinion on what's going on. It's just all hype. And so if you're thinking about buying Jordan, if you're just coming into this hobby and you think, Jordan's super hot, I got to get in, I'm going to make a ton of money, I would be very, very cautious, and I would actually advise against it. My opinion when it comes to buying sports cards is to generally not follow the crowd. Now, in some cases, following the crowd can work out if you think there's good value. For instance, Mike Trout. Now, I know this is about Jordan prices, but let's just go to the 2011 Topps Update Trout. Now, vintage card prices recently started adding data for modern cards, but they don't have a lot of data, but they're pretty good on this card. So let's go ahead and look at the PSA 10, and we'll go back as far as they can. So they only have a 2-year price history going back to the summer, June of 2018. And you can see there was a pretty natural run up in price over a period of 2 years. You see this jump here in the summer of 2019 is really when it started to take off. If we look at the 1-year chart, the run up in price appears to be completely natural. Here we have March of 2020, just before the lockdown that we're experiencing right now. And we did see a dip in prices, and actually this card was selling for as low as $1,500 in the middle of March. But it has since come back up to that $2,000 mark. And what I'm seeing here over a 2-year period and over the last year is a completely natural run up in price. And so in my opinion, the $2,000 price point for the Mike Trout is at least a fair value. And if I didn't own this card and wanted a copy, I actually think a $2,000 price tag is fair. You're paying top dollar, but I think it's at least a fair price. The Jordan cards, you saw the information I had to offer. I'm staying away from Jordan, and I'll wait for prices to come down by the end of the year, or maybe even next year, to start buying Jordan again. All right, I hope you find this information helpful, and if you have ideas for other videos of card prices that I can do, this is my first time doing this, so I'm just kind of fumbling through it, but I would like to do more of this in the future, and hopefully I'll get better at it. But let me know if you have some ideas, or if there's information that you want me to get out there to you. And be careful out there collecting cards, spend your money wisely, and have fun with it. Thanks, fellas.